This is the Buffett Mindset channel where we practice patience and calm wealth building daily. If you enjoy these types of videos, consider liking and subscribing. This will mean a lot to the channel. Let me tell you something that ain't written in no fancy book, but it carved deep in the story of every man who ever walked this earth with a lunch pail in one hand and dreams in the other. Most folks, they don't set out to work all their lives just to end up broke and tired at the end. They think they're on the road to freedom. They think one day after all those hours on the clock, they'll be sitting on a porch with peace in their hearts and money in their pockets. But hear the cold truth. A lot of them never see that day. By the time they reach 65, the joints are worn, the dreams have dried, and the bank account emptier than their spirit. And you know why? Because they've been walking someone else's trail their whole life, working for wages instead of building a life. You see, the world got a rhythm to it, like the steady beat of rain hitting the roof of an old cabin. The system designed to keep a man busy, keep him distracted, keep him satisfied with little crumbs, while the loaf sits on another man's table. From the time you're young, you're told go to school, get a job, keep your head down, work hard, and one day you'll be rewarded. That sounds fine, doesn't it? But look closer. That's the same story told to every mule on the farm. Keep pulling, keep walking, and maybe you'll get a bucket of water at the end of the trail. That ain't freedom, that's servitude dressed up in a suit and tie. Most people don't realize they're trading hours for dollars that don't grow. And hours, well, they're the most precious thing a man got. Once they're spent, you can't buy them back. Yet the banks, the bosses, the governments, they've figured out that if they can get you to believe tomorrow will fix everything, you'll give up today without a fight. That's why retirement is painted like paradise. Just hang on long enough, give us the best years of your life, and maybe you'll enjoy a few sunsets before the candle burns out. But by then, the fire gone, the body weak, and the dreams you once had, well, they're ghosts walking in the back of your mind. Warren Buffett once said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. And he was right, as clear as a trail in fresh snow. Wealth ain't about how many hours you can put in. It's about building something that works without you swinging the hammer all the time. But folks don't hear that. They're too busy trying to patch leaky roofs with the little scraps they got. They're caught up in the noise of daily life, bills, rent, debt, the grind that keeps their nose pressed so close to the grindstone they can't see the sparks flying. And little by little the years slip by, fast as rainwater down the side of a mountain. Hear the real kicker, partner. The reason people end up with nothing is because they never learned the rules of the game. They thought playing it safe was the way. They thought saving in a bank account was smart. They thought climbing a company ladder would take them to the top. But ladders can be leaning against the wrong wall, and banks, they make their money lending out yours. Safe in this world don't mean prosperous. Safe just means stuck. And by the time a man realizes the game rigged, he's too tired to play it any other way. Now don't get me wrong, hard work noble. It builds character. It feeds families. But hard work without wisdom, that like riding a horse in circles, thinking you're making progress. Day after day, week after week, you wear down both the horse and yourself. And when you stop, you're standing in the same place you started. What Buffett figured out, what every free man gotta figure out, is that you need your money working harder than you are. You need seeds planted that grow while you sleep, while you rest, while you breathe. Otherwise, you're just another laborer in a field that don't belong to you. The sad part is most folks don't see it until it's too late. They get their gold watch at 65, maybe a small pension, maybe some savings that'll barely carry them through the storm of medical bills, inflation, and the cost of just staying alive. And then they sit there, wondering how the years slipped away, how they gave everything and ended up with almost nothing. They feel cheated, but the truth is, they were told the rules from the start. They just never questioned them. They never asked if there was another way, a smarter trail to ride. Let me tell you this under the hush of rain. You don't have to walk that path. You don't have to end up as another ghost of wasted time. A man can choose to see the truth early. He can choose to break free of the illusion that wages alone will set him free. He can learn the power of ownership, the power of compounding, the power of letting his dollars breed more dollars while he still has the strength to live. Freedom don't come from waiting for retirement. Freedom comes from taking control of your choices now, before the years rob you blind. The hardest truth for most folks to swallow is this: the chains on their wrists ain't forged out of iron. They're made out of habits, fears, and the sweet poison of comfort. See, a man works his job, collects his pay, and tells himself, "This is enough. I'll be all right as long as I keep at it." And the years pass easy because he don't dare disturb the routine. Comfort a tricky outlaw. It whispers that tomorrow will be better, but tomorrow looks just like yesterday, and before you know it, you're old and worn, with nothing to show but memories of labor. That's why people work until they're gray and still end up broke. Not because they were dumb, but because they let comfort and fear steer their wagon. Now, Buffett never claimed to be the fastest horse in the race. He just said he learned to ride steady, never getting thrown off. He knew the game was about patience and compounding, letting little streams turn into rivers if you give them enough time. But the average man, he spends what he earns. He chases shiny things to fill the hole that work carves into his spirit. And those shiny things, the new car, the bigger house, the gadgets, they don't just eat the dollars, they eat the chance of freedom. Because every dollar spent thoughtlessly is a soldier that never got the chance to fight for your independence. That's why so many wind up with nothing. They never let their money serve them. Instead, they spent their whole lives serving money. Picture it like this. A man plows his field from sunrise to sunset, but instead of keeping the harvest, he gives it away for trinkets. At the end of the season, when winter comes, he got no grain in the barn, no food for the family, no warmth for the hearth. And when he looks back, he realizes he traded his sweat for dust. That, son, is the fate of millions who think they're working their way to freedom, when in truth, they're just trading one chain for another. Now, hear a bitter pill: the world don't reward sweat alone. It rewards direction. A man swinging an axe in the wrong forest won't gather no firewood, no matter how strong his arms. You gotta cut where the trees bear fruit, where the effort multiplies. That's the lesson Buffett lived by. He looked for streams that grew without him hauling buckets every day, businesses that could churn a profit while he slept, investments that compounded like the growth of an old oak tree, starting small, but towering mighty with the years. But here where fear tricks a man. Fear tells him, don't risk it, keep your head down, don't stray from the path everyone else is walking. And so he works the same job, puts his savings in the same low-yield account, and spends the rest because everyone else does. Fear chains him tighter than any shackle. Fear keeps him from asking the hard questions, from learning what the wealthy already know, that freedom comes from owning, not earning. Owning your time, your choices, and yes, owning assets that make money even when you don't lift a finger. Let me tell you something personal. You ever notice how the old-timers at the end of their lives don't talk about the cars they drove or the houses they lived in? They talk about time, the moments they missed with their kids, the sunsets they didn't watch, the freedom they never tasted. And all because they believed they had to work like slaves until some magic age when freedom would finally arrive. But by then, it's too late. They gave up their youth, their vigor, their prime years to a system that never had their best interest at heart. And when the curtain closes, they realize retirement was a carrot on a stick, dangled just far enough to keep them moving. So why do people end up with nothing? Because they trust the system more than themselves. They believe the promises of pensions, of safety nets, of a government or company that'll take care of them. But let me ask you, when has any system truly set a man free? True freedom comes when you take the reins yourself, when you stop hoping for rescue and start building your own rescue plan. That's what Buffett meant when he said the best investment you can make is in yourself. Not just learning numbers, but learning discipline, learning patience, learning to see opportunity when everyone else is blinded by fear. Most men don't fail because they never had a chance. They fail because they never prepared for opportunity. Opportunity comes like a thunderstorm, sudden, fierce, and powerful. And when it rains, it pours. But if you ain't got no bucket ready, that water just runs off into the dirt. That's how fortune slipped by. Buffett didn't get rich by being the smartest man in the room. He got rich by being ready when the rain came. While others were scared, he stepped in. While others hesitated, he acted. While others sold in fear, he bought in courage. Now, partner, think about the people you've seen working themselves to the bone. Think about your own trail. Ask yourself if you're trading your hours for nothing, hoping for a retirement that might never come. Or are you setting yourself up to step off the trail early, to sit by the fire on your own terms, not because you're worn down, but because you're free? That's the question every man gotta answer. Because the truth is plain as day, working till 65 and ending with nothing ain't fate. It's a choice made by walking the same tired path as everyone else. You can choose another. You can break away. The truth a man has to wrestle with is that fear and ignorance are what make him a slave, not the job itself. Working is honorable. Working puts food on the table and boots on your feet. But when all you do is work without thinking, without plan or direction, then you've traded your freedom for a wage, and that wage owns you. Buffett understood this young. He knew that if you only live off wages, you'll never get far. You'll eat, you'll survive, but you won't prosper. To prosper, your money has to start working harder than you. Your dollars have to be like ranch hands that never sleep, never complain, never stop producing. The average man don't see this because he trained from boyhood to think of money as something you trade for goods. Earn it, spend it, repeat. That what school teaches, that what most parents teach, that what society drills into his head. Study hard, get a good job, retire at 65. But let me ask you, how many folks do you know who retire rich, truly rich? Not just comfortable, but free. Damn near none. And the reason is simple. They were taught to be laborers, not owners. They were taught to be spenders, not investors. They were taught to fear loss more than they desired freedom. Now, here's a thing about fear. It'll make a man believe the safest path is the best one. But the safest path is often the most dangerous. A man might think leaving his savings in the bank is safe, but inflation eats it alive, quiet and slow like termites hollowing out a barn. He thinks buying what everyone else is buying is safe, but the crowd often heading toward a cliff. Buffett knew this, and he built his fortune by sidestepping fear and following principles instead. He bought when others were running. He held when others were panic selling. He thought long term while the world screamed short term. That's why he rich and most folks ain't. I'll tell you something that'll sting. A man can spend 40 years on the job and still not have a dime to his name come retirement. He'll have stories, he'll have memories, but he won't have freedom. Because every dollar he earned, he gave away. He let his labor be consumed by the world instead of letting it compound for his own future. That's why the phrase wage slave rings so true. A slave is a man who works not for his own benefit, but for another. And if all you ever do is work to pay bills, debts, and interest, you've shackled yourself to the same master under a different name. The irony is that most folks don't even question it. They call it normal. They say that's just the way life is. And they'll even ridicule the man who dares to step off the path. Tell him he's reckless for investing, foolish for starting a business, naive for thinking he can be free. But history shows that the crowd has always mocked the dreamers until the dreamers built something greater. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Ford, even Buffett himself, they all went against the grain, and because of it, they ended free, while the crowd ended tired, old, and broke. What makes Buffett's wisdom hit so deep is that it ain't complicated. He never said you had to be a genius. He just said you had to avoid being stupid, avoid debt that eats you alive, avoid spending on things that vanish in value, avoid the trap of thinking short term, and most importantly, avoid fear. Fear makes a man sell when he should buy. Fear makes him work when he could own. Fear makes him settle for a wage instead of striving for freedom. If you can kill fear, you can kill slavery. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're sitting by this campfire right now. Rain falling steady, flames crackling low. You're older, your hands are worn, your back is tired. You worked every day of your life. And when you look back, you realize you never owned a damn thing. The money came and went. The years came and went. You gave your best years to someone else's dream. That's the picture of millions of men. It's a tragedy, not because it had to be that way, but because they never dared to choose another way. Buffett said the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. That's how people end up working until 65 with nothing. They don't feel the chains when they're young. They don't notice the weight when they're in their 30s. But by the time they realize they're bound, it's too late. The habits are set, the debts are stacked, and the years are gone. But the man who wakes up early, who sees the trap and refuses it, that man has a chance to walk free. You see, freedom ain't just about money. It's about having control over your own time. Time is the true currency of life. You can trade it for wages, or you can invest it in building something that pays you back. Buffett invested his time in learning about business, about compounding, about patience. He planted seeds instead of eating every harvest, and those seeds grew into forests. That's the lesson the crowd ignores, and that's why the crowd grows old with nothing. So let me tell you plain, if you want to avoid dying broke after a lifetime of labor, you got to change how you see yourself. Stop thinking like a worker, start thinking like an owner. Stop chasing the comfort of the crowd, start embracing the discomfort of discipline. Stop letting fear whisper lies in your ear, start letting courage light your path. Because this world don't hand out freedom, you got to take it, you got to claim it, you got to build it brick by brick. And when you do, when you finally own more than just the sweat of your brow, you'll feel something most men never do. You'll feel the weight of those chains lifting. You'll feel time become your own, and you'll sit by the fire not as a tired slave at the end of the line, but as a free man, watching the rain fall, knowing you live life on your terms. That's what Buffett meant when he said the best investment you can make is in yourself. That's what breaks the cycle of working till the end and dying with nothing. The saddest sight in this world ain't a broke man. It's a man who worked all his life, obeyed every rule, punched every clock, and still ended up broke. A man who thought he was doing the right thing, saving a little here, spending a little there, waiting for retirement to finally enjoy life, only to discover retirement came empty, like a promise never kept. That's slavery with a softer name. It don't come with whips and chains, but with paychecks and time cards. It don't shout, it whispers just a little longer, just a few more years, just keep going. And by the time you stop, your best years are gone. Buffett saw through that illusion. He never trusted the idea of waiting until you're old to enjoy life. He believed in setting yourself free while you still got the fire of youth inside. That's why he lived below his means, why he reinvested instead of spending, why he let compounding do the heavy lifting. See, compounding don't get tired. It don't need vacations. It don't wait for retirement. It grows in silence while the world keeps working. And by the time most men wake up to its power, Buffett was already riding far ahead. Now, some folks will say, but I can't invest, I don't have enough money. And that's the excuse that keeps them bound. Because you don't need a fortune to begin, you just need the discipline to start. Buffett bought his first stock at 11 years old with the savings of a paper route. He didn't wait for a six-figure salary or a corner office. He started with what he had, and he started early. The principle is simple. It ain't the size of your first step, it's the direction. If you're facing freedom, every step brings you closer. If you're facing slavery, every step digs you deeper. And here where fear cuts a man down, fear tells him, don't risk it, don't try, don't lose what little you got. But the truth is, by refusing to risk, he already losing. Inflation steals, taxes steal, bad habits steal, and while he protecting his little pile of wages, the world is eating it alive. Buffett knew that taking no risk is the riskiest thing of all. He said it plain, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. That ain't just about money, that about life. While the crowd trembles, the man with courage advances. While the crowd clings, the man with vision invests. Picture this. Two men sitting side by side at a campfire just like this. One man spent his life buying every shiny thing, every gadget, every comfort the world offered. Now he's 65, with debts and worries. The other man spent his life building, planting seeds, letting compounding grow. At 65, he's free. His money works harder than he ever did. Both men lived the same years, but one ends a slave, the other ends a master. That's the power of choices, and that's the weight of fear. You know what chains most men more than money? Identity. They've been told their whole lives they're just workers, just laborers, just middle class, just ordinary. They accept it, wear it like a badge. They never stop to ask, why not me? Why not freedom? Why not wealth? Buffett never wore those chains. He saw himself as an owner, even when he was just a boy selling Coca-Cola bottles door to door. He thought like a capitalist from the start. And that mindset, not the money, is what set him free. The campfire truth is this: nobody coming to save you. Not the government, not your boss, not even your family. If you're working a job you hate, hoping for retirement, hoping for security, hoping for someone to hand you freedom, you'll die hoping. Freedom ain't given, it's taken. It carved out of discipline, forged in patience, and grown with compounding. That's the cowboy way and that Buffett way. Independent, patient, fearless. Now, I ain't saying the path is easy. It ain't. It takes guts to save when others spend. It takes courage to invest when others hoard. It takes patience to wait years, even decades, for compounding to bear fruit. But that's the price of freedom. Every man pays a price. The slave pays with his life. The free man pays with discipline. Which price you want to pay? That's the question only you can answer. There's a story Buffett likes to tell about Noah. You don't wait until it starts raining to build the ark. You build it while the sun is still shining. That's how you avoid drowning when the storm comes. Most folks ignore that lesson. They live paycheck to paycheck, praying the storm don't come. But storms always come. Recessions come. Emergencies come. Life itself comes. And when it does, the man who built early sails to safety, while the man who waited drowns in regret. And maybe you're sitting here thinking, it's too late for me. But that's just fear in disguise. It ain't too late. It's only too late if you never start. Buffett built his fortune slow enough that anybody with patience could follow. The difference is, most people won't. They'd rather stay in the comfort of slavery than bear the discomfort of freedom. They'd rather work till they die than change today. But if you've got the courage to start now, today, even with nothing but a single step, you can set yourself on the road to freedom. So let this rain remind you, time keeps falling, droplet by droplet. You can waste it watching it fall, or you can use it to grow something that'll last. You can spend it like the crowd, or you can invest it like the wise. You can let fear rule your life, or you can break the chains and walk free. Buffett's life was proof that a man don't have to be born rich to die free. He just has to have the courage to think different, act different, and refuse to be a slave to wages, to fear, to the crowd. And when your last fire burns low, when the rain still falls steady, you'll look back not with regret but with pride. You'll know you didn't live like the rest. You didn't die with nothing. You lived with courage, you lived with patience, and you lived free. That's the Buffett way, that's the cowboy way, and that's the only way worth riding. The world don't much care if you end your days free or chained. It'll keep spinning, keep grinding, keep distracting you with shiny toys and empty promises. That's why most men fall asleep at the wheel of their own lives. They get lulled by comfort, by routine, by the steady hum of work and wages, and before they know it, they wake up at the end with nothing but memories of labor. That the tragedy of slavery in the modern age, it ain't forced upon you by whips, it offered to you as comfort. A steady job, a steady paycheck, steady debt, steady bills, and steady all the way to the grave. Buffett wasn't fooled by that song. He knew the comfort was a cage. He saw that wages alone wouldn't lead him where he wanted to go. That's why he studied, why he learned the language of money, why he taught himself to read balance sheets instead of magazines, why he let his curiosity be his compass. While others were wasting evenings on distractions, he was learning the game of capital. That's what separates the free from the enslaved, not luck, not birthright, but the will to learn and the patience to apply it. And here, something most men never reckon with freedom takes less than they think. They believe you need millions to be free. But the truth is, you just need enough assets throwing off income to cover your needs. Once your money works for you, you ain't chained to a boss, a job, or the system. Buffett lived simple, ate simple, drove old cars, lived in the same house for decades. He didn't chase luxury, he chased freedom. That's why he's free, and that's why most men are broke. They chase toys instead of time. Now picture a man sitting by a fire on his 65th birthday. He's tired, his body worn, his dreams are faint. He says to himself, I'll rest when I retire. But retirement came too late. His debts are still due, his savings too thin, his habits too heavy. That man gave the best years of his life to others, and he got nothing left to call his own. That not just poverty, that betrayal of himself. And it a betrayal millions commit daily, all because they feared taking control. Buffett once said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. That's the simple truth most men ignore. They think sleep is rest, but if your money ain't working while you rest, then sleep is just another pause in your slavery. Real rest comes when your assets are grinding while you dream, compounding while you breathe, growing while you age. That's the sleep of a free man, and it's the only sleep worth having. And the path ain't glamorous. It don't make headlines. It not about flash trades, lottery wins, or sudden jackpots. It about years of patient investing, living below your means, refusing the temptations that enslave the crowd. Every dollar you waste is a dollar that could have been a soldier working for your freedom. Buffett treated every dollar as sacred, as a potential worker in his army of compounding. And look at the empire those little soldiers built. Meanwhile, most folks send their dollars out to die in restaurants, in malls, in new gadgets, in fleeting pleasures. No wonder they end up old and broke. They killed their own army before the battle ever started. The hardest thing a man can do is delay pleasure. But the sweetest thing a man can taste is freedom. The crowd trades their future for a moment of comfort. Buffett traded comfort for a future of freedom. That's why the crowd retires in chains and he retires with choice. And every man has that choice every single day. The question is, do you want to own your life or do you want to rent it until the end? Don't mistake this rain for sadness. Hear it as a clock. Every drop is time falling, ticking, slipping away. You can't stop it, but you can choose what grows from it. A slave lets the rain wash over him, complaining about the weather. A free man uses it to water his crops, to grow something that'll last. That's the Buffett way. Take what the world gives you and let it work for you, not against you. I'll tell you something straight. If you're young and you're listening to this, you've got an advantage most folks squander. Time is your greatest ally. A dollar invested in your 20s grows into forests by your 60s. But most spend their youth wasting money and their old age wasting time. Don't be like them. If you're older, don't despair. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Start now, no matter your age, and you can still carve freedom out of the years ahead. And when you're tempted by fear, fear of losing, fear of trying, fear of being different, remember this. Fear is what keeps men slaves. Fear is the voice of the crowd that wants you stuck beside them. But courage is the voice of freedom, whispering that you were meant for more. Buffett didn't let fear dictate his moves. He let reason, patience, and principle guide him. That's why he stands free while the fearful are bound. So sit here by this fire, listen to the rain, and let the truth sink deep. You ain't meant to live and die in chains. You ain't meant to give your best years to wages alone. You ain't meant to wait till 65 to live free. You're meant to build now, to own now, to choose now. Don't waste another drop of rain. Don't waste another tick of the fire. Start today and refuse to end with nothing. When your time comes, let it find you not as a tired slave who gave his life away, but as a free soul who owned it. That the Buffett mindset. That the cowboy truth. That the call of freedom under the rain. The fire burning low now, sparks rising gentle into the wet night air. The rain don't stop, it just keeps tapping steady, like a reminder that time don't wait. And maybe that the greatest lesson of all, time is flowing whether you use it or not. The years are passing whether you invest them or waste them. Freedom ain't handed to no one, it carved out of choices made day by day, dollar by dollar, habit by habit. Buffett lived like a man who understood time was his most valuable partner. He didn't try to outrun it, didn't try to gamble against it. He partnered with it. He let compounding, that quiet miracle, do what it does best. He planted early, watered faithfully, and trusted the seasons. Most men, though, they want the harvest without the planting. They want the comfort now and the freedom later, but the truth is you can't serve both masters. You either serve comfort or you serve freedom. Serve comfort now and you'll be a slave later. Serve freedom now and you'll taste comfort forever. Look around at the world today and you'll see the same trap dressed in new clothes. Shiny cars, new phones, endless upgrades, all bought on credit, all chains disguised as progress. Folks laugh at the man who drives an old truck, who wears the same coat, who don't chase status. But those same folks will be working till they drop, while the quiet, simple man builds wealth that buys him freedom. Buffett drove used cars, lived in the same house, ate the same meals, not because he couldn't afford more, but because he knew more wasn't freedom. He chose ownership over appearances. He chose substance over show. And that's why he sits free while others wear gold chains that ain't nothing but shackles. Now let me tell you a truth that bites. The system ain't built for you to be free. The system built for you to keep working, keep spending, keep depending. That's why schools teach you to be an employee, not an owner. That's why advertisements scream louder every year, telling you happiness is in buying the next thing. That's why folks nod along when you say you'll work till 65, but laugh if you say you're building for freedom in your 40s. The system rewards slaves, not free men. So if you want freedom, you gotta break from the system. Think different, act different, live different. Buffett wasn't special in the way most folks think. He wasn't born with a silver spoon. He wasn't the son of kings. He was a boy who sold gum and soda, who read more than he talked, who kept his eyes on the horizon while others stared at the ground. His secret wasn't genius, it was discipline. His magic wasn't luck, it was patience. His gift wasn't timing, it was courage. Those are gifts every man can claim if he's willing to pay the price. The only question is, will you? Imagine years from now, sitting again by a fire like this, gray in your beard, lines on your hands. Will you look back proud, knowing you broke the chains and lived free? Or will you bow your head, regret heavy on your shoulders, realizing you worked until the end and left with nothing? That choice is being made right now, not then. Every dollar you earn, every habit you keep, every fear you surrender to or overcome, that's the hammer and chisel shaping your future. Don't let it be the shackles of slavery. Let it be the tools of freedom. Fear whispers, what if you fail? But freedom answers, what if you succeed? Fear says, stay safe. Freedom says, stay true. Fear says, work for security. Freedom says, work for ownership. Which voice you listen to determines the life you live. Buffett listened to freedom. That's why he'll be remembered as a builder, while millions of nameless men vanish into the fog of wages. This rain, this fire, this night, it all a reminder that life is short, but it can be wide if you live it free. A slave lives long days that blur into each other, dragging chains of duty and debt. A free man lives days that shine, each one his own, each one chosen. The difference ain't in the years, it in the ownership. And ownership is what Buffett preached without shouting, without boasting. Ownership of your money, ownership of your habits, ownership of your mind. That's the key to breaking the curse of working till you die. So let me leave you with this. The rain will fall, the fire will fade, the night will end, but your choices echo past the moment. You can choose fear and remain a slave, or you can choose courage and live free. You can end your days with regret, or you can end them with pride. You can die chained to wages, or you can die free. Your wealth working for you even in your final rest. Buffett life is proof it can be done. Yours can be too. The cowboy in me says this plain, don't wait for freedom to find you. Go out and claim it, build it, guard it. Let every drop of rain remind you that time is slipping, and let every flame remind you that light is still yours to kindle. Live free, die free. That's the Buffett mindset. That's the truth worth holding close. I will not live as a slave. I will not trade my life for wages alone. I will not spend every breath serving another man's dream. I will build. I will own. I will claim my freedom. I am not afraid. Fear has no claim on me. Fear tells me to stay safe, but safety is the cage. Freedom is worth more than comfort. Freedom is worth more than approval. Freedom is worth more than the applause of the crowd. I choose freedom. I choose ownership. I choose to let my money work harder than I ever could. I choose patience. I choose discipline. I choose to walk the lonely road today so I can walk free tomorrow. I am not a servant to things. I am not chained to what I own. I own my habits. I own my time. I own my life. Every dollar I waste is a chain. Every dollar I invest is a key. Every moment I fear is a shackle. Every act of courage is freedom. I will not work until I die. I will not beg for scraps in old age. I will not wait for a system to save me. I will save myself. I will free myself. I will build myself. I am not afraid. I act without hesitation. Everything is working in my favor. Everything is compounding in my favor. Every day I live, freedom grows closer. Every habit I keep, freedom grows stronger. I am patient. I am steady. I am relentless. I do not chase what shines. I build what lasts. I do not seek to impress. I seek to endure. The world cannot chain me. Debt cannot chain me. Fear cannot chain me. Only I can chain myself, and I refuse. I am free. I am wealthy in discipline. I am wealthy in patience. I am wealthy in courage, and soon I will be wealthy in truth. The rain reminds me time flows on. The fire reminds me life burns bright. I will use my time wisely. I will burn with purpose. I am not afraid. I will not die a slave. I will die a free man. I will die with my wealth working for me. I will die with my head held high. I choose freedom. I choose courage. I choose ownership. This is my path. This is my life. This is my mindset. The Buffett mindset. The free man mindset. My mindset. The fire crackles down to embers now, and the rain keeps on beating steady as a clock. Each drop falling is a second ticking off your life. Folks don't realize that they think time an endless barrel always ready to pour another glass, but every barrel runs dry. The man who spends his years careless, buying what he don't need, working for what he don't own, he'll one day find himself staring at an empty cask, wondering where it all went. Buffett knew better. He treated each day like a seed. Didn't matter if it was big or small. He planted it, and he trusted the soil, the seasons, the long game. That's the beauty of compounding. It don't look like much at first, a few dollars here, a small habit there, but keep at it long enough and it turns into an oak tree that shades you till the end of your days. Trouble is, most men ain't got the patience to watch a tree grow. They chop it down before it bears fruit, all cause they wanted firewood for a single cold night. They trade the forest for a flame. Now let me tell you something that'll sting. Comfort is the greatest thief of freedom. Folks think struggle steals their liberty, but it ain't so. Struggle builds muscle, builds grit, builds character. Comfort, though, that the velvet rope that ties you down so gentle you don't even notice. You buy comfort, you serve comfort, and before long you're shackled by it. Buffett understood this. That's why he kept his life simple. Why trade his freedom for a bigger house, a shinier car, or a plate of fancy food? He didn't need the glitter to know he was rich. His wealth was measured in freedom, not in trinkets. I've seen too many men dig their graves with their wallets. They chase the latest gadget, the slickest toy, the flashiest clothes. They pile up debt like bricks till they can't climb out. And hear the cruel joke. The very things they bought to look free are the very things that chained them. That the system tricked. The world don't want you free. It wants you paying, working, and hopping for a day off that never comes. Every billboard, every commercial, every limited time offer is a leash disguised as candy. You want to beat it, you got to learn to say no when the world shouts yes. You got to choose freedom over fashion, ownership over show. Buffett, he lived like a man who already had enough, and that, my friend, is the richest place you can live from. See, the poor man ain't the one without money. The poor man is the one who can't stop wanting. A man who don't need nothing is untouchable. He free. That's why Buffett could sit in the same house for decades, could eat the same meals, could drive the same car. He wasn't chained to desire. He was sitting on top of it, riding it like a horse he broke himself. Now some of you might say, well, Buffett had talent, Buffett had brains, Buffett had opportunities I'll never have. That's the easy excuse, the coward song. Truth is, Buffett's real weapons were patience, discipline, and courage, and those ain't reserved for kings. They're forged in every man willing to sacrifice comfort today for freedom tomorrow. You don't need $1 million to live free. You need the mindset of ownership. Ownership of your money, your time, your choices. Build that and freedom will come. Picture this 20 years from now, sitting by another fire, the rain tapping same as tonight. Will you be telling stories of freedom, of days spent with family, of work that mattered, of wealth that worked for you? Or will you still be talking about bosses, deadlines, and bills? That story being written today. Every dollar you invest instead of spend, every book you read instead of scrolling, every habit you shape instead of surrendering, that's the ink you're using. Don't write a tragedy when you've got the chance to write an epic. Fear gonna keep knocking. It'll tell you freedom too risky, ownership too hard, patience ain't worth it. It'll whisper you'll fail, but failure ain't the enemy. Regret is. You can stumble 100 times and still make it if you keep walking. But you bow to fear, you let it chain you. You'll wake up one day too old, too tired, and too broke to break free. Buffett didn't live fearless, he lived faithful. Faithful to discipline, faithful to compounding, faithful to freedom. That's the Buffett philosophy. It ain't glamorous, it ain't loud, it's steady, quiet, relentless. While the world screams for more, Buffett says enough. While the world spends, he saves. While the world gambles, he invests. And while the world grows old in chains, he grows old in freedom. So what it gonna be for you? Will you chase comfort or will you chase freedom? Will you die a slave to wages or will you die a master of your time? The rain don't stop, the fire don't wait, and time don't pause for no man. The choice is yours, tonight and every night. Plant your seeds, guard your soil, trust the seasons. Live free, die free. That the Buffett way. That the way of any man who got the grit to choose ownership over chains. The fire nearly gone now, just coals glowing red under the ash. That the way of all things bright for a spell, then slow and then gone. The wise man knows this. He don't fight the fading of the flame, he tends it while it burns. Same with money, same with time. Don't waste it trying to burn hotter than the next man. Waste it trying to shine brighter than your neighbor. Just keep it steady, keep it alive. That's where freedom grows. Buffett once said the stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. That ain't just a market lesson, it's a life lesson. The impatient man burns his wood in one night, making a fire so high it lights the whole town. By dawn he cold, begging for scraps. The patient man burns slow, steady, never running out. Folks laugh at his little fire, call it dull, call it plain. But when winter drags on, he the one still warm. And here the part folks don't like hearing: freedom don't come with excitement, it comes with boredom, repetition, routine. Buffett didn't get rich by catching lightning. He got rich by watching the same companies for decades, by saying no more often than yes. Same meals, same house, same habits. That sameness was his weapon. But people crave the new, the shiny, the thrill. They think if it ain't exciting, it ain't progress. Truth is, boredom is the forge of freedom. Only the man who can endure the ordinary can build the extraordinary. The rain heavier now, pounding like drums on the earth, and it reminds me of the storm every man must face, the storm of doubt, of hunger, of envy. See, envy is the chain most men never notice till it's too late. Buffett said it plain. It not greed that drives the world, but envy. You scroll through your phone, see another man car, another man vacation, another man life, and suddenly yours feels small. So you buy, you borrow, you chase, you sell your future for his present. That's how chains are made, not out of iron, but out of envy. Buffett was immune to envy because he stayed in his circle of competence. He didn't try to be what he wasn't. He didn't compare his game to another man. He played his hand slow and steady while others folded. That another lesson. You don't win freedom by copying. You win it by knowing who you are, what you understand, and building inside those walls until they're a fortress. But here a warning. The system wants you distracted. It thrives on envy. It wants you chasing trends, buying fast, selling faster, doubting yourself, depending on experts, waiting for handouts. It don't want you free. Free men don't buy what they don't need. Free men don't clock in till death. Free men don't swallow lies sold by advertisements and politicians. That's why a Buffett mindset feels rebellious, because it is. It's rebellion against the greatest slavery of all, the slavery of the mind. Now think about your own days. Do you own them, or do they own you? When the alarm rings, do you rise for your purpose, or do you rise for a paycheck? When money comes in, does it go to building your fortress, or does it slip away into things that rust, fade, and break? When you lay your head down, are you closer to freedom or deeper in chains? Most men never ask these questions. They live like cattle, herded by the system, fattened by comfort, march toward the slaughter of regret. A few, though, a rare few, wake up. They break away. They build. They live like Buffett, not in riches first, but in mindset, in discipline, in patience. And maybe that's the truth worth carrying from this fire tonight. Freedom don't show up all at once. It don't knock on your door with fanfare. It comes quiet. It comes day by day, habit by habit, choice by choice. It comes when you say no to envy, no to debt, no to comfort, and yes to discipline, yes to ownership, yes to freedom. One day you'll sit at your own fire, the rain tapping, the coals glowing, the years weighing heavy on your shoulders, and you'll tell your story. Will it be one of chains or one of freedom? Will your wealth work for you, or will you still be working for scraps? Will your children inherit debts, or will they inherit a fortress you built with patience and grit? That story written itself tonight. The pen is in your hand. So stoke your fire steady. Let the rain remind you time don't wait. Live simple, live patient, live free. That the Buffett way. That the cowboy way. That the way of any man who dares to own himself.